Hello, everybody, and welcome to Eberron after,
Long time.
yeah, long time. Very, very long time. So, don't believe your lying eyes, about what character Will's playing, down at the very bottom, way down there. Don't believe what that says, because Luke is dead. That's the tone that we're going to start this session with. That's the
Scott,
tone.
I don't know if it's just me, but your Twitch is like only showing you and Eric.
That's the important
just
characters.
That's just
it's
me?
fine.
Okay,
It's
I was like,
it's just
Making sure.
prioritizing the important characters.
I hope it's
Yeah.
just
Guess
you.
so.
Well, Reich is the important character.
I'm the main
It's
character
you.
of this anime now, motherfucker.
Yeah, that would be the biggest plot twist. Reich becoming the main character.
All right, we're good now. Sorry.
The main character of this anime. You're about to see
The
my.
only time Reich is the main character is when someone challenges him to a fight.
You want to see me in the important times?
We already
My
went
main character
sideways.
When it comes to alcoholics, when we go to the Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, then you get to be the main character. All right?
Well,
Well,
but as we recap what happened recently, just a big thanks to all the resubs. Thank you, super appreciate it. Sorry it's been so long since we were able to stream last, and a double thanks to Silencio who is gifting those subs. Thank you. Okay, so to the show. Last session, Luca did. You guys, it started off with you guys having a big ol' argument. And actually kind of like the session prior ended with a big ol' argument. Last session started off with you guys, like, that argument actually kind of come into a close, and a little bit of, like, recompense and building together as a team. And then you decided to, like, okay, let's head back to the city where all this stuff happens. So try to, like, figure out what's going on. You found out some information about, like, what kind of, has been happening with the authorities over there and the people that may be at fault of the actual things that had transpired. So you're like, okay, let's head there. As you're traveling through the woods, you got waylaid by enemies and must defend yourself. There was a beholder that came crashing through the woods, attacked you guys, realized that, what's your name again? N, got attacked as well. Stalbor, like, really threw his own life at risk trying to save Jer. And Luca was the one that's saying, everybody retreat. I will take the offensive. I will be the one. I'll be the distraction. And Reich was like, great idea. To his credit, he did a couple of shots, but then just got the crap kicked out of him. And then Eric fell asleep. And Stalbor did exactly that. Saved N to the best of his ability, and then started trying to run away. And then Kieran was like, okay, cool. I'm just going to, like, hurt it enough that Luca can hold it off for us all to run up. It's bleeding. I'm just going to hurt it a little bit. It's bleeding, guys. I'm going in for the kill. We're not going to run from this combat. No. We're going to take it all the way home. And so, unfortunately,
Scott, they didn't have horses.
Unfortunately,
we were in the thickest underbrush ever. And
we were all moving
With
at
no
half
horse.
the
speed.
horses
Like,
were either
We're moving
gone
at half
or
speed,
dead.
no horses. Like, we weren't
Kieran
getting out of
could
there.
move because she teleported.
so she was actually out of range of the creature because it was started retreating, and the only ones that were really in dangerous range were Stalbor and Luca. But Stalbor was trying to get away, and Luca was still trying to hold attention. Kieran took the offensive, teleported forward, continued the attack, which actually inevitably led to the death of the creature. So instead of it being able to run away and escape, it died. Unfortunately, that also cost Luca his life because the combat continued happening. Now, mind you, Luca could have died either way because it was still attacking as it ran. Beholders are scary things. So we're literally picking up the session with Luca turned to dust. Stalbor rushed over there and starts scooping up the bits and flecks of dust and everything that are on the ground, and trying to get them into a flask or whatever he can get to try to gather as much of Luca as he can. Like, I can fix it. I can fix it. I imagine, like, what's his name from Wreck-It Ralph, and Reich still kind of like, it's been a while. That sun has moved quite a few degrees in the sky. What is going on with these people? And whatnot. So we're actually going to bring the camera. And of course, Kieran, who had her moment where her mind was taken over, saw Luca die, snapped back, and finished the. So we're going to take the camera immediately over to Reich. And Reich, could you do me a favor, roll me a perception check?
Let's do it.
Rolls a 1, move the camera back.
He rolls a disadvantage by accident. Eric's the
'Cause
first
he's
roll.
Eric.
Yeah.
Hey,
All right, not bad,
I
not
did.
bad. You did well. Your first roll, sir. Awesome. All right, so from what was I gonna say? So you are standing there, and while you're standing there waiting for them to come, you actually do hear rustling and whatnot happening in the woods, but not to the south and to the. Because you guys were traveling what? East. Sorry, you were traveling west along the road and somewhat north along the road. So not to the southeast of where you are. You're actually hearing it further north of where you are, but like into the woods. You hear rustling inside the woods. You hear. You swore that was a scream of death happening. You swear it was a scream of death that you just heard, but it didn't sound like a voice that you are familiar with. It sounded like some like unworldly kind of scream, but it was of pain and gurgling. And it's like, ooh, I don't know, good. But it's definitely to the north of where you are and deep once again into the woods.
How long have these guys been gone since I lost sight with them?
I think it's been like 5 weeks since you lost sight of them. 5 weeks plus an hour. So no, it's been honestly like 2 minutes just because of the way combat works.
So I don't hear them following right behind me. I thought they were right behind me. In the fray of things, I thought they were right behind me. I sit there for a few moments, just considering just how incredibly injured I was from that one single shot that this guy did against me. I think for a few moments, and then after a few minutes of deciding, I'm going to give them a couple more minutes to try to catch up with me. Knowing logically, if I go back, I more than likely will face death if he's still alive, and just hoping that they did the smart decision and just kept going.
Okay, so you're just happy to stay where you are.
Yeah.
Okay, so
For right now.
you choose to just keep put. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get out of sight. So like, if somebody comes
Of course,
in,
yeah. I assumed you were doing that anyways. I assumed you weren't just standing in the middle of the road with like a neon sign saying "food here." You know. No, you're
just
you're good. You're good. You're good. So if you're gonna take a nap, now's the time to do it. No judgment. All right. So you cast your judgments. You guys back there, Kieran and Stalbor. What you see is of course the cloud of dust on the grounds. There is the dead beholder, the Iron Head, hit with a heavy bolt of lightning and fried and popped and all that nastiness. How do you guys react immediately?
Well, immediately I probably wouldn't do anything for like a second. Stalboy runs over and kind of like places the shield against his forehead. And seeing that, I would kind of snap into action, and I would run over and put my hand on his shoulder and just say, "We need to go. We don't know if there's any more of those things around here."
Stalbo would nod. He wouldn't say anything. He'd bundle nearly everything together. He doesn't take like the armor because he actually couldn't, even if he could. But everything else is just sort of in like a bundle in his arms, and he stands up and we'll just go back towards the road.
And we have to. Then I would go to N and try to wake her up.
Oh,
did she sleep again?
No, she was still unconscious, right?
Yeah.
Mmm.
It was an unconscious thing. Yep. So you go over to
Shake her
N.
up.
You have a means of healing, like a potion or anything like that.
Yeah, I would actually grab the potion of greater healing that was on the floor with Luca's stuff because I don't have it on me myself.
No, but this isn't even a matter of. This is just a matter of like Kieran is the person that puts aside emotion except for anger and hate and just acts with the logical. Okay. And so she probably just like pick it up, dust off a little Luca, go feed it to N.
If you want to actually have one, like I picked up a potion off his corpse. If you want one.
I mean, I kind of get like a sorry shrug to Stalboy while I do that.
Dude, Stalboy should put on Luca's belt. like
In
poof,
his inventory. and I stole from it.
Stalboy.
And we're gonna keep that to N.
It's there.
I mean, as an elf, you technically are proficient with longsword. You can be super badass with it. Like, I mean, Stalbor is now a Gish.
I remember we had this conversation after the stream.
Did we?
might
Oh,
have.
I'm sorry. It was so long ago. Sorry.
I
my-
forgot though.
Oh,
I
okay.
forgot as well that
Okay.
that was the thing.
Well, I'm glad you remembered. So, all right, moving on. So you grab the potion, you go over, you feed it to N. N comes to, and as soon as N comes to and sees you there, she immediately gets up and starts trying to run, like to get away, because that's like what she knew was. I fell asleep. I woke up. I fell asleep, but every time get dragged away. So immediately that's what she plans on doing. But I imagine you can interrupt.
And the creature's dead. We have to go though. Just not frantically into the forest.
The creature's dead. We gotta go. And she's like, oh, and obviously she looks nothing like you anymore. Like, it's
No, she's in her natural form, right?
Yep.
Yep.
And so she's like, all right, yeah, it's dead. Okay, good. Reich, is Reich okay? Reich wasn't here. Is Reich
Reich
okay?
ran off. Hopefully he's fine. Hopefully he's gone to the next city.
I didn't even see Reich. And Luca was staring it down. Where's Luca?
I'll kind of like look at his equipment in Stalbor's arms.
Looks
and
over
just
there.
Kind of shake my head at her.
Oh. Well, I guess as a party roll, I can feel. Turns into Luca. Sorry. I've been waiting
That's
to
not
do
even
that.
funny.
I've been waiting to do that for
That's
so
how
many
you
weeks.
beat the fucking
You muted me for that, good sir.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. That was not funny. All right. So,
But we do have to go. We don't know if there's more.
okay. So, she's like, she nods and then starts like getting like together, starts moving in the direction that you were kind of like gesturing to going in. Does stop to assist, helping out pick up Luca's things, but she's very, very intuitive and understands the connection between Luca and Stalbor, and so does so gingerly, like goes over and picks up something that's clearly of no significance to Luca whatsoever, and like goes to like gingerly pick it up, almost like around the miracle bush, you know, to like see how Stalbor reacts while not looking at Stalbor. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's how Stalbor reacts. He would have already have picked up everything he deems of worth and is very slowly making his way through the undergrowth. But you know when, like, someone doesn't care, like, you're trying to drag, like, a child through a forest? He's, like, just walking into bushes and into branches and things. He's not, like, trying to walk around things anymore. He's just going to the road.
Like if a branch snaps and like cuts him along the cheek, he just doesn't even care.
Yeah.
He just doesn't even feel it. He's numb.
The
I got
things
you.
he left was, like, the armor and
Yep.
heavy stuff.
Yep. So once again, G will go around and pick up everything that G notices off the ground to kind of like, I'm here to assist, of course. Like I said, the first item I imagine he's walking away right as it starts to pick something up, and so realizing like nothing else really matters. The first item will pick up gingerly, kind of okay, and then just like grab everything else. I imagine there's one or two items for Kieran
Yeah,
to get to.
he wouldn't even look at Je.
Okay, awesome. So you guys make your way finally back over to Reich. Reich, please roll for me a perception save. Roll. Excuse me.
What? Everything.
Save me.
Save me.
All right, so with your 20, you continue to hear like a few moments later, because like another minute passes, and you hear another like scream of death or of like pain or something coming from the north in that direction. But at the same time, you also now finally start to hear like breaking of branches and whatnot as movements finally coming your way from before. And you eventually see from further down the road, Stalbor comes out onto the road. He's an armful of a bunch of stuff, but Stalbor kind of like walks, like almost what's the word I'm looking for?
Is he on his horse?
No, walks out onto the road, and so monotonously, like there's no emotion to his movements. I'm lacking a word here, and I'm sorry. There's no emotion to his movements. He's just kind of like comes through the bushes, turns without looking to see where you are, just knows which direction to go, and just starts walking up the road towards you. I imagine not even looking at you. You see he's got armfuls of stuff. By the time he kind of like gets within view, so you can kind of see what the stuff is, you do see Kieran and N come through carrying a couple of items themselves, but like, you know, you're now within like normal, like loud but normal talking distance of Stalbor. As you see Kieran and N come break through the bushes as well.
And I see there's obviously a person missing.
Yeah, but he could be behind Kieran and N.
Well, given the way I am very perceptive, I'm
The
also
main
very
thing,
intuitive.
like, yeah,
so
everything is bundled together in Luca's chromatic cloak.
I like rides up on the road for a little while, a short bit, like making himself seen by you guys, but like walking, I'm like staring at Stalbor, and like the way he's acting, and I look back, and you see like at first I look inquisitive, but when I look back and I see N and Kieran walk out, I wait for a few moments, and then I look back at Stalbor, and then like instantly I look crestfallen, and from there I slide off my horse, and I just walk over to Stalbor, and I imagine at that point I probably see what he's carrying.
Yes.
I walk over and just kind of stand there in front of him for a moment, just staring at the stuff. A couple times I go to open my mouth, just like I want to say something. And my face just like it struggles between just profound grief and almost concern for Stalbor. And I look, and in that moment I just kind of shirk off my weapons, drop them to the ground for a moment, and I pull out my hands and I say, "Can I help carry the load?"
Stalbor would shake his head, and then kind of like just look forward, and then he would look back to Kieran. It's like, "Do you know where we're going?"
Yeah. Yeah, I know the path.
Let's go there.
Okay.
I
Go ahead.
I pick up my weapons and I go and I tie them to my horse. I sit there by the side of my horse for like a minute, just looking like I grab onto the saddle like I'm gonna pull myself up. I just sit there, and then after a long moment, I pull myself onto my horse, and from here we're just kind of gonna go the rest of the way to. Are we going to the town we were headed to in the first place, or are we going back?
Well, you're almost
I would still be going
forward because you guys are less than a day. Like
Yeah.
you're like less than half a day's travel from where you need to be.
I was gonna go whichever one was closest, and if that one's closest, then that's where we're going.
Yep, that's where we're going. And I'm pretty sure it'd be pretty quiet on the way there.
You don't say anything about the things that you had perceived multiple times prior to them arriving?
No, I've kind of forgotten about that in the moment.
My extremely high wisdom character with a decent intelligence completely forgot about that?
No, I figured what they were.
Yeah.
They are obviously not running,
Yeah.
so that means that the beholder's not chasing them, and they're carrying a dead person, obviously dead person stuff. I think I can construe what those noises were.
What were those noises?
Well, the first one was probably Luca dying, and the second one was probably the beholder
Okay,
dying.
so they're unworldly screams, and they
So
came
it's
from the
probably the
north,
beholder.
whereas your friends were to the south and east.
Well, then I just don't care.
Oh, that's fair.
Okay.
That is fair. That is fair. So you guys continue traveling around along the road, and because of that, because of the distance, everybody with disadvantage can roll a perception to see if you hear anything as well. But disadvantage in all of you because you're kind of like moving away now.
I guess, but
Good job,
Yeah,
Eric,
I'm
with
gonna
the
do it
with
with
the
DC,
Ericing
so-
the roll.
I rolled before you fucking said it, all right?
Lies, fake news.
I rolled double 5, so that's a 10.
It's funny. I was waiting for the fourth roll, and then I
Right.
remembered. Oh, sorry.
Jesus Christ.
That was
Just rub it in. Just fucking rub it
It
in.
literally just took me a
Jesus
while. I was
Christ,
like,
Scott.
where's the? Oh.
Oh.
So you guys make your you guys continue making your way over towards the city, trying to get in there. Now, Bellum, you were making your way over. You were trying to find your way to the. So you were traveling through the woods. You have the information that you need to have with you to deliver to them as part of the voyage that you're on, like the journey that you're on right now, right? And as you're making your way through the woods, you're like, I need to try to find this gatekeeper's location. So you had a moment where you like sat down, fell into yourself, and started like trying to communicate with nature. You know, whether it be like a conversation with a squirrel, listening to the winds, however it was, you're trying to just kind of grab the surroundings to find out where this place is. But in doing so, you actually noticed a strange smell in the air. A strange smell that was permeating, something that you had learned to detect beforehand, something that you've learned to become very good at finding. And so with that, it was kind of like one of those, you look at the ground and like place your hand on it and feel the ground for a moment, and you realize, no, this whole area is permeating with this madness that is here. It's nearby, and you can kind of like sense a presence of where it is, and there's a decent number of them. And so immediately, kind of like you have to put aside what your plan was, which is to find the location of the gatekeepers, and instead to find your way over to what it is that you're trying to, this presence that you had detected. So you immediately make your way rushing over towards there. The path of destruction that you see before you is frightening as fuck. As a matter of fact, could you do me a favor and roll for me a nature check with advantage? Not nature. Stop that. Arcana check with advantage. Not that. Stop that. Survival check with advantage. Ha! Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah. That was bad. Whew. Sorry, 5e always throws me off because I'm not like, dungeoneering check. Like doesn't exist anymore. Are you there?
He's doing it.
He's doing. Give him a second.
Is it?
I don't know.
He's like taking
I know,
he's taking an
he might
Eric
be
amount
doing
of time.
Hold on. It's like, sorry, my internet was being really, really weird.
Oh, okay. I was like,
I thought for a moment you were talking to me. I was like, you were not talking to me. Why?
No,
what are
he-
you
no.
talking about?
No.
He was you like an adjective.
Yeah, exactly.
I got that. We already have an Eric King, so don't fucking.
Well, he also he took an Eric and a half amount of time to
Don't-
Eric the
don't
roll.
do that.
So
Don't do that.
It's
could-
survival.
I did. I also said with advantage 3 times, though the first 2 times with the wrong skill.
To be fair, you did completely.
Yeah, like-
what you did. So
I'm taking the first number just because you fucked up too many times.
You know what? I'm not
That is
even.
how it
I'm not
works.
even gonna fight with that. I'm not even gonna fight with that. I'll swallow that pill. So, anyways, as you're traveling along, you see a path of destruction that you believe you know with your 17. You believe you know what that is. You're not sure, and then all of a sudden you see the markings getting an additional +4. You see the markings along the along like the burns of the trees and everything. You see bits of ash on the ground, and you realize there's only one thing that can leave this kind of varied path of destruction in front of it. And you're thinking to yourself, oh shit, there's a beholder here. But before you can even like react to like go and charge in after that thing, you hear something else. You actually hear a faint scream off behind you, and you know that even though there's a beholder in front of you, and that's something that's really scary, the idea of fighting a beholder on one-on-one is something that you very likely will not be able to succeed at. But moreover, if the beholder's backup were to show up in the middle of that fight, there is no way in hell you will ever be able to. It's just impossible. Beating a beholder is daunting to impossible as it is. So instead, you turn your attentions to the creatures that are behind it, all the ones that were following it. Those creatures are they're very strange looking. They stand at about 3.5 feet tall. They have these kind of like gangly arms. Their faces are almost doubled faces. They have one mouth sitting just slightly off to the side of another mouth. So one like kind of bottom to the right, the one at the top left above it. They have 4 eyes, but it's like a set of eyes here and then a disjointed set of eyes over here. They have only one set of ears, but they're kind of like flop to the side. They have this like deep gray color to them. They're very, very strange creatures. They're disgusting. They usually travel in groups, and they usually are mindlessly, even though they're not mindlessly follow a larger, more powerful, in this case, beholder. So you turn your attention to them and get to work immediately, laying a couple like traps on the ground, tripwires, things like that, just to bring your attention to where it is that they might be. You immediately lay in wait in the ground to pop up, shoot one down with an arrow, and then just do everything you can to try to call their numbers before finally you're just like, I've done what I could. I've taken a couple of licks. I need to run from this combat. There's a few screams of death. There's a few ones that you're able to kill rather quickly. You do everything you can to bring this number down. On the bright side, as you finally turn tail and make your way away from here, you genuinely believe that you were able to finish all of them, that all of them have finally, that all of them were killed because none pursued you. Didn't really hear any of the noises back there. While rushing ahead, you are finally, when you feel as though you have a moment to relax, you're able to sit back down again and just kind of like recollect yourself. Short rest. In doing so, you can recommunicate with nature and try to like feel the presence and feel what's going on. But something catches you off guard. You were correct, at least as far as you can tell. There aren't any more of those creatures. You think you actually killed all of them to the last. You can even sense the presence of their decaying bodies, knowing exactly how far and where it is from where you are right now, and easily retrace your steps there. But you also don't detect the presence of that beholder any longer. Perhaps it's because it's moved beyond the area that you can kind of sense these presence. But beholders aren't very fast. They're known to be extremely slow. So for some reason, you are no longer detecting that beholder. Either way, things would be on the up and up. You're rather injured as it is, though. Maintaining your like in these woods alone right now is probably not very safe. You do know that you recently passed through a city, not very far from here, and so obviously make the decision to head back to the city right now. You need to at least recuperate for a night before you head back into the woods and find the place that you're looking for. Okay?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So that's what's going on with Bellum. You could have found him in the woods, but Eric didn't give a shit. So very appropriately, Luca is an old friend of his. Very appropriately. Remember when this whole quest started, the people that literally tried to save poor Dane from dying was Luca and Reich. The two of them have spent a lot of time together. There were many times when the party would split off into various groups, and Luca and Reich would stick together because they enjoy red tape and whatnot. They enjoy order. So the two of them were good friends.
We shared a room with a warg. Okay, we know each other quite well. We did know each other quite well.
There is no bromance like sharing a room with a warg. Okay, so the two of you, so you guys finally make your way to the city itself. You do have N with you. N's plan was to look like Kieran. That is no longer N's plan because Kieran's here. So instead, N is going to kind of like reach into the bag of tricks and look like because my perception of changelings, they can't just look like whatever they want. Look like what they want. They have to look like something they've seen and they've studied and da-da-da-da. So instead... Exactly. She grabs into her bag of tricks and kind of like comes up with a persona that she's experienced before and used before and kind of like becomes this persona. As a matter of fact, in becoming this persona, it takes a few moments. You guys obviously take your own short rest at one point. Changes clothes to be in those very... what's the word I'm looking for here? Lazar Principality-like clothing. You know what I mean? So that light sailor kind of clothing and whatnot. And she actually takes a man's role. She actually looks like a sailor, like he's kind of a boisterous personality, bit of a hairy chest sticking out of the front of the tunic, saber at the side, almost swashbuckler-esque. The problem is, like, as you guys are walking along, all three of you are very clearly in a somber mood, but Ji has to like practice getting into that role. So while trying not really to interact with you, kind of like speaking to yourself, having like quick little dialogues, and everything's kind of like uppity, and it's like every once in a while it takes even further few steps back, separating yourself from you guys because obviously your mood does not match the personality that they're trying to get into. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. You come up to the city gates, and the gates are actually sealed as always, and so you have to let us in. There's no questions about it. They open up the gates, and they let the four of you in. They don't seem to. I know Kieran was a little concerned on that, but they don't seem to recognize who any of you are.
Oh, okay.